Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. So, it's been a while, hasn't it? I've not been around much lately and I will explain why. First of all though, I want to apologise for the slightly poor quality of today's video. I'm forced to use the web camera from my computer, which isn't that great, I'm finding out. So, I've just got a problem with my phone and recording the video. This is the second attempt I've had at making the video today, and it was very disheartening to make a 20-minute video on my phone using my external microphone and then finding out that it recorded but with no sound. So, yeah, that wasn't a good start. Anyway, the silence, my long absence or fairly long absence. First of all, I just want to thank those of you who messaged me or contacted me to ask how I was doing. It's very thoughtful of you. It certainly makes you feel appreciated, and it's very, very kind of you to do that. And I just really want to explain a little bit as to why I've been away, and that of course I will be back, and things will eventually get back to normal. So anyway, I expected to be away for part of August and at least the first part of September anyway, because getting ready to go back to school and having to plan and do some work for that. And then we got back to school on the 1st of September, and sadly we didn't even survive a week before the classes started finding themselves in lockdown or in quarantine one by one. One of our classes at school has been away in Italy, so we had 8 of the 9 grades that we have at school present, and then we finished yesterday with only 2.5 of those classes still at school, the half of the group that didn't go to Italy with the rest of their class. So, it's been really unfortunate. It's just due to COVID, due to, the coronavirus making its, rearing its ugly head again after the summer holidays. One of my colleagues unfortunately contracted it, even though they're vaccinated. They had fairly bad reaction to it and were quite ill. And then one by one, kids from different classes went down with it. And of course, once a child has it, the class itself then must enter quarantine. The rest of us teachers that were left at school, we continue to go there because, of course, government advice is that we're vaccinated, so we should be safe. Although I'm beginning to have my doubts as to whether or not we're that safe after being vaccinated. I last weekend was quite ill myself. I don't know whether it was just a case of catching something after being around all the children, or whether or not it was a mild form of the virus. I did test negative on the Monday, but I didn't test myself before that, and perhaps being vaccinated might have given me a milder form. I don't know. The only test I had was an antigen test, and my experience so far with those isn't that great, because we've known of several people who've tested negative in that with the antigen test. They still feel ill. They go for the PCR test, and then of course they're found out to be positive. So this had quite an impact on my schedule, had an impact on making videos, because now at school we are just mixed between classes that are at school and classes that are then online, and having the majority of classes now online at this time in the year means I haven't prepared the lessons, because we've never been not at school at this time of the year. So even last year during the pandemic, we were at school for the beginning of September and through most of October before we entered lockdown. So if it had happened later, I would have had everything I needed ready to go. Because as a language teacher, as a conversation teacher, it's very hard to teach larger groups of kids just through Zoom online. If it's 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, it's much, much easier, but unfortunately it's just not feasible. So I have to spend a lot of time converting the lessons I would have used in class into some form of online format, and mostly that's due to making videos. So I've been making videos for school and not been making them for the BookTube channel. You have to forgive the noise outside. There's like a parade, which I can show you actually. And it's all due to this European kind of cultural day we have, and celebrating the founding of the town. So people dress in traditional costumes. I think it's around 500 and something years, 520 something years maybe, since the foundation of this town. So and also another reason I haven't made so many videos recently is because of my schedule. I haven't been able to read very much. I'm terribly behind. I'm a host, well, the host, I think, of the Herodotus Voxer group, reading Herodotus's histories. Probably the worst host in history, as I think I'm probably the only one that hasn't finished the book yet. And I've fallen way behind, so I'm going to need time to catch up with that. I didn't finish my Strangers from the Sky Star Trek book. In fact, I didn't finish a single book in the month of August. However, so far at least during the month of September, I was able to finish, although it's not a great feat, I was able to finish this little book here, Ishmael Kadari's The Traitor's Niche. It's a little book, and I first saw it on Aaron Face's channel, where he reviewed it. I think he read it. Actually, I'm not sure why he read it. Maybe it was part of the Reading Europe challenge we did, or maybe he just picked it up and read it anyway. But I thought it sounded really good, so I wanted to read it too, and I did, and I also enjoyed it. Kadari kind of uses the Ottoman Empire and its regime as a way for him to speak about the communist regime in Albania, where he was living at the time. And yeah, it's a very interesting story. It follows a man called Abdullah, who looks after this thing called the Traitor's Niche in a square in Istanbul, Constantinople at the time. And in this niche, they put the heads of traitors to the empire, and he has to make sure that they remain in good condition. Yeah, and it kind of slowly drives him a bit mad. It follows another character, this one on the front, Tuj Haida or something, I can't remember his name, but he's like a royal courier, imperial courier, and he goes to different parts of the empire, bringing back the heads of the traitors to place in this niche. And he has a kind of sideshow going on where he shows it off to village people for a bit of cash on the side. It also looks at Ali Pasha's rebellion in Albania at the beginning of the 19th century, as well as, I forget his name, the Pasha who was sent to put an end to him and an end to that rebellion. So it's a very good short book, and it's extremely interesting and very much a good critique on totalitarian systems. And it is a trilogy. I have one of the other ones, which is Palace of Dreams, which I want to read as well. It's mentioned briefly in this book, so I kind of would like to see how the idea of the Palace of Dreams is explored. So yes, what else am I reading this month? Well, I'm in a few groups. We have a humorous book of the month group on Voxer, where we first started reading The Three Men in the Boat, and this month we are reading A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole, and this was a suggestion of one of our group members, Greg, from another Bibliophile Reads, and I haven't read very much, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It's very interesting. I'm also due to start tomorrow, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I'm reading this with Revenant Reads and Michael K Vaughan from Michael K Vaughan's channel, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm taking part also in Shakespeare in September, or Shakespeare-tember. Sorry, I forget the name. And I'm reading Shakespeare's Henry IV, and to supplement that, I'm also reading Shakespeare's Kings by Lord Norwich, or John Julius Norwich. I could probably just get away with reading the chapters relating to Henry IV, but I really like Lord Norwich's works, so I'm going to read the whole thing. And yeah, it's very good, as I've come to expect from him. I'm also reading Ian Mortimer's fantastic biography of Henry IV. I will show you. I'm reading it on my Kindle application. Where is it? Let's see where it is. Yeah, and it is Ian Mortimer's The Fears. You can see it there. The Fears of Henry IV, the life of England's self-made king. So yeah, that's that for those particular things. Another book I'm reading is an excellent book, actually, and I'm also really enjoying it. I'm coming up to about halfway through it now, and this is Iridian Brooks' The Aftermath, which is about a British family who moves to Hamburg after its virtual destruction in the Second World War, and the father is a colonel in the British Army and subsequent governor of the occupied territory, and this family has lost someone dear to them in the war, and when they requisition a German mansion to live in, they allow the occupants to stay there, and that family has also lost someone. So it's kind of like how these kind of relationships build in the ruins of Hamburg, because the British really did do a number on that city, creating a massive firestorm that was pretty atrocious. I'm sure would have been considered a war crime had Britain not been on the winning side. And I'm also in a fantastic read-along Voxer group with Summer at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats, among others. She is hosting it, that's why I mention her, and it's for Umberto Eco's The Name of the Rose, which is fantastic. I'm thoroughly enjoying that. I don't know why I put off reading it so long, probably because I had a few issues with the film when I was younger. I found some of the scenes quite upsetting, and perhaps that's the reason I didn't want to read it, but I'm glad I'm reading it now. Summer's also hosting a read-along of Lisey's Story by Stephen King, which I've also started, and there's a group on Voxer as well, and a couple of them have finished that. I'm only about 12 pages into that, but so far it's very good as well. I'm probably forgetting something. I'm not 100% with it or well prepared today, so I do hope you'll forgive me. I will just mention that next month is, I think, what they call Victober, where we read Victorian works during the month of October. And I'm scheduled to read this, R.D. Blackmore's Lorna Doone, which is a romance story set in Exmoor in England in the West Country. And I will be doing that with Tilly at Tilly's Shelf, if she's still up for it. I haven't spoken to her yet to confirm. but I hope she is, and also with Summer as well from Cozy Reading Quaker Cats. And I hope if anybody else would like to join, please feel free to mention it in the comments below, and I shall add you to a group that will be created when the time comes. There are other things I will also be taking part in during the month of October, but this is the only one that I'm hosting, so to speak. So I think it will be very good. I read this a very long time ago. I was around 14 years old. It is quite a big book, but I remember enjoying it. So hopefully I shall enjoy it again. And if you join us, I hope you'll enjoy it as well. So yeah, hopefully there's sound once I finish this. And once again, I want to thank those of you who contacted me to see how I was doing. It was very, very kind of you. And yeah, as you can see, I'm all right. I'm still around, and I will be back with more frequency as things start to calm down. There are a few tags I'd like to do, a few tags I'd like to make as well, because I've fallen behind in that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting back to some normality and interacting with you all again properly. And thank you for staying with me as well, and not kind of like, unsubscribing or running away or leaving me. I do appreciate the fact that, my numbers stayed pretty constant despite the lack of output. And yeah, I'm really thrilled to at least be able to communicate to you the reason for my silence and my absence, and just to let you know that everything's fine, and I will be back creating videos and things soon, as well as interacting with all of you, as I very much enjoy it. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Bye.